Başladı.
Okay, we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Red Talks. My name is Elif Işık. I'm the Country Communications Officer in IFRC Turkey. Today, we're hosting two guests from Turkish Red Crescent's dynamic and young team. Nur Demir is with us. She's volunteering with Red Crescent. And Akif Emre Aktas is with us as well. He's the Deputy President of Turkish Red Crescent Youth. Welcome both. How are you?
Hello, Elif. I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. How about you, Akif?
I'm very well, thank you. What about you?
I'm good, thanks. Today we're going to talk about Turkish Red Crescent volunteers' field experiences and challenges they face, and also their daily motivation and mental health. We will be live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and also Facebook, so you can join us asking your questions to us, and if you have any thoughts, you can share them with us. While we're talking, we will be following up with them. So before we start our conversation, I would like to give you some update about the situation in Turkey in terms of COVID-19. We have more than 65,000 cases at the moment, and it's increasing day by day. And Turkey is in the first 10 among other affected countries in terms of the number of the cases. And there are several precautions taken against COVID-19 in the country, and Turkish Red Crescent has been actively responding to this emergency to help communities in Turkey since the beginning. So I would like to ask you, how do each of you as volunteers do, and how long have you been volunteers with Turkish Red Crescent? Akif, maybe you can start.
Okay, I just waited for, because ladies first. I just wanted to be a gentleman.
Okay,
Well,
no, it's your
okay,
turn.
start then. Okay, hello, Elif again. As you mentioned before, I'm Nur. I've been volunteering at Turkish Red Crescent for more than 2 years. And here in Turkey, during this pandemic, we are trying to do providing meals to quarantine support, providing meals to people who is under the quarantine. You know that here in Turkey we have quarantine observation points. I guess the number of 28 or maybe more than this. We're trying to provide meal to them, and we're also having social support to elderly people who's basically under the lockdown and they're in their homes. So we are trying to visit the households and try to help providing their basic needs.
Perfect. Akif, please.
Okay, I think you asked that the how we have been volunteering, right?
Yes, exactly.
Actually, I've been volunteering since 2011 or 2012 in several non-governmental organizations or some civil societies, some university student clubs, etc. And at the beginning of 2017, I participated to Turkish Red Crescent, and I was among the founder of Turkish Red Crescent Youth. And since that day, I have been voluntarily working for Turkish Red Crescent Youth, and right now I am the Vice President of Turkish Red Crescent Youth as well as Head of the International Relations Commission. So,
Perfect. Cool. So what has it been like responding to such an emergency like this? How does it compare to other emergencies you've responded to before?
Well, should I go first again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, honestly, at the beginning of this story, I was kind of confused and nervous because, yes, we've been responded many different of emergencies until now, but pandemic is quite different from the other emergencies. So responsibilities exactly on each individual is much very much. I mean, compared to other emergencies. So basically, if you want to help the others, you have to be aware of yourselves first, and this means lots of responsibilities on, especially on the volunteers. I guess volunteers working at fields.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Akif, what do you think?
I think in other emergencies we have kind of experiences because, as you know, at the beginning of this year, an earthquake occurred in Turkey, and we were also in the field at that time. But when an earthquake occurred in any country, we know how to behave. Uh, we will do what we have to do. But in this crisis, we cannot foresee anything. We don't know how to behave. We don't know how to react regarding this pandemic. So I think this is the biggest difference between other emergencies and this coronavirus pandemic. And in other cases, like you know, in some natural disasters like flood or snow sliding or earthquake, as I said, it's not depends on the people. It's you know, it's natural, and you have to wait, and you have to do you know after natural disaster happen. But in this crisis, it's all depends on how it depends on the people's reaction on this crisis. It's all issues on our hand. So we may stop this virus, or we will live forever with this virus. So all issues depends on people. So I think this is the hardest part and the biggest different. I mean.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the whole world is dealing with something very unknown. It's something very unique. I mean, this is the first time we faced such a thing. So I totally
Yes.
understand that it's very hard to be prepared about how to respond to that. So it's much harder for you as frontline workers as well. So what does a typical day look like for each of you?
Well, currently I'm taking part of coordination. So my day starts with phone calls. I try to cover and provide the needs of my fields, my friends at the fields. So my day starts with phone calls and goes with the organizational details during the day. And I sleep maybe less than 5 hours. Then we start another day.
Also, I mean, we do not have a kind of regular day during the coronavirus because, you know, every day we are facing with different actions, different issues. But typically, we are also coordinating our volunteers, and always we are having phone calls, or you know, we have to coordinate them. On the other hand, we are also going to the brands, and we are participating the field works. And first, we are starting to prepare some food packets for the needy peoples, and we are involving the distributions in the field, and we are going people door by door and giving them the food packets. But before that, we are checking our lists, and the authorities are giving lists, and we can know whether they are in need or not. And after then, we are providing the package. So this is a regular day. At the end of the day, as you know, all meetings, all assessments are going online, and at night, every night, you know, we are having online meetings, and we are having assessment regarding what we have done till today, and what are we going to do tomorrow, or you know, further days. So this is, I mean, typical days of not only for me but the volunteers of Turkish Red Crescent.
Yes, at a time of such an emergency, I can imagine everything is ad hoc and you should be prepared all the time. So it's a very tough work for you. So what kind of challenges do you face when you're out and helping others, especially personally? I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, there is, of course, there is a lot of challenges at the field, but I can say personally, uh, most of the time, I mean, at the beginning, actually, to be honest, at the beginning, I was kind of scared that, this pandemic, this COVID-19 is contagious, and we were visiting houses, and we've been seeing many of people, and we were in touch with them. So I was kind of scared that if I get infected or not at the beginning, but now it gets viral, and I'm aware of this. So I asked myself if if I want to continue this or not. Then I said, okay, yes, this is a pandemic, and we have to do this.
Yeah. Yes, totally. Akif, we would like to know from you as well.
I mean, the challenge that we have faced in the field is, I mean, not based on something material or physical things, but it's based on mental issues. Most of our volunteers, almost all of our volunteers, are combining by young people. And as you know, in coronavirus, young people mostly cannot do not show the symptoms, and let's say if I have a coronavirus, I am not able to know whether I have this virus or not. So this is the problem, because we are going to houses, we are distributing package, and we have a risk to transfer this virus to other people. So this makes us stressful. This makes us very I don't want to call it not depression, but we feel very bad, and we all live within a family, so we can affect our family members. The challenge is, I think, the biggest challenge is actually regarding this issue. So we are having stress when we work in the front line. Yeah.
Because of the responsibilities, actually, we have to be respectful for people that we are visiting, and we also have to be responsible for each other, and we have to be responsible for ourselves. So I think Akif has the right point.
Yes, it's a very tough work to do, being on front line, seeing all these things, putting yourself in the middle of an emergency, actually. And we actually have a very related question on Facebook from Krishna. She's asking, how are you keeping the Red Crescent volunteers safe when they're out?
Okay, let me respond that question first. So we are, as you know, we are trying to, not trying to, we are wearing our face masks, we are wearing our gloves, we are having our sanitizers with us always, as we have to do. But at the same time, we are, when we go to the field, we are trying to keep social distance. I mean, if we want to go somewhere, we do not take on the bus, take on the car, more than 3 persons. So we are trying to keep social distance. We are trying to wear our face mask. We are trying to wear our gloves. But so this is the typical and basic support we have taken.
Yeah. Noor, do you want to add something to this answer?
Well, as Akif mentioned, we are trying to be careful about the PPEs. We do not go out without PPEs, like personal protection equipment. We are fully covered by medical suits, and we use gloves and other stuff. And this is a typical way that we are trying to keep ourselves and our volunteers safe.
But I would like to add that at that point, Also, we do not allow we have some volunteers which who they have a family members who are having some chronic illnesses.
Mhm.
I mean, one of our volunteers, let's say, have a chronic illness or their family members. We do not allow to be with us in this coronavirus crisis. So we are trying to select our volunteers based on these criteria. So, I mean, this is one of the our methods to protect our volunteers from this virus as well.
Yes, I think it's a very good point, Akif. I think it's very important. And I also would like to thank the people joining from all over the world to us now. There are followers from Nepal, Turkey, Georgia, Bangladesh, Switzerland, West Africa, Brazil, Mexico, and Indonesia. So we have a lot of followers now. We have another question we received via LinkedIn. Mohammed Hafiz wants to know, how do you identify the people that need help? Akif, actually, you mentioned about that a little bit, but maybe you can give more information.
Let me explain in that way. Our branch working with the local authorities in the field. So the governors of the districts are giving lists because they have who are in need or who are not. So based on those lists, we are identifying the people who needs the help. At the same time, in all districts, as you know, we have social support teams called VEFA, or it means loyalty or something in English. These groups also have a call centers, and people are calling us, especially who are older than 65 years old and under 20. They are telling us what they need, and also we are providing their needs based on these issues. But we are identifying people based on the local authorities, like municipalities, like governments, like mayors of the cities.
Thank you very much. I think it's all these things that you're doing, it's very hard to do all these things without motivation, because you're volunteers and motivation is the core of your job. So what motivates you to do this work?
Actually, yes, we need motivation much, but well, for me, at the end of the day, I was at the end of a very tiring and long day. I try to keep reminding myself that this is going to end eventually. Nothing stays in this world forever, so far. So this pandemic will not stay either. So I try to remind this all the time.
Yeah.
Also, I agree with Noor, but I think that it's enough to be motivated being a human being. If you are human, so we have to, we cannot ignore people who are in need. So I think for the motivation, it's enough to be member of this humanity, nothing else. So.
Well said.
Yes, and there is one thing else. So yes, pandemic is a problem, but here we are as volunteers trying to be the part of the solution of this problem. So this is a motivation.
Yeah, totally, I agree. And the whole world is struggling mentally at the moment, I think, because this is not something we're used to, and they're applying social distancing. In Turkish culture, we love showing our love by touching. We love handshaking, we love hugging, kissing. This is very hard for us. I totally understand. And it's much harder for you. And it's good that you found some ways to protect yourself psychologically as well. So is there any specific a method that helps you protecting your own mental health. Nur mentioned about reminding herself that it will end at some point. Is there any other methods that you're applying on yourself?
Akif, I think you can go on.
Okay. I missed the question because I had a problem on my internet, but now I hear you very well.
Okay, no worries, I can repeat. So I was saying, Nur also mentioned that she found some methods to keep herself calm and psychologically in a better state, like reminding herself it will end at some point. So do you have also some methods to protect your own mental health?
Yeah. I think the mental health issue is one of the most important issue during this coronavirus emergency pandemic. I mean, as our movement said, keep social distance but socially close. So we are trying to have this social close right now. Another thing that, especially for me and we as volunteers, we are helping people. And we cannot touch them, but we may see their smilings, we can hear their prayings for us, and this makes motivations really high. And when I go a house, and a grandma tells me, I pray for you all the time, I am praying for you after my prayings, this makes us very happy. This makes us full of motivation, and we can keep our mental health by helping people, I think.
That's so nice that you hear such stuff from a grandma. And what are the other things that you hear from people you help, and what do they say? What are their biggest needs?
I think beyond the material needs, people want to hear that this is going to end, as we mentioned before, because we can provide everything, but meals, I mean, the other supporting stuff. But people want to hear that this is going to end and we're going back to our basic normal lives. So when we visit the houses and when we try to get in touch with them, I feel like that I have to promote that. Yes, we are in this together, and we are trying to solve this right now by helping you. And you have to believe that this is gonna end. This is what I'm trying to say to people that I'm attracted with. So I think people needs to hear kind of supportive sentences in this case.
Yeah, perfect. And we also have a question from Hannah on Facebook. Any particular stories about people from your field experiences you would like to share? Any unforgettable moments from the field?
Okay, let me tell you a story, which once we visited the house, and one grandma, let's say, opened the door, and we gave her a food package, and she prayed for us. She said, I am older, 20 years old or something, and I lived enough. And I pray that I pray to the God, to the Allah, like, may God take from my life and give it to you, because you are helping people. I cannot do anything after this age, but you can help more people. So when we hear that, this is not a unique thing, by the way. This is a very common story that all Turkish Red Crescent volunteers might hear while they are working in the field. So when we hear those kind of words, I feel very emotional. This is just one example, but we have many like that. So this makes us very emotional.
It made me very emotional now as well. I mean, hearing such stories, I mean, totally a motivation for you. Do you want to add something, Nur?
Well, this is not my story, but this is a story that I heard from a friend. She's also a volunteer at the field. They were visiting a family before the pandemic, and during the pandemic, they also visited them. And there was a food aid before the pandemic. And you know that the food aid contains a lot of things like cans and other stuff. When they visit the family during the pandemic, the kids of the family gave it to them. The cans, the kids planted flowers into cans, empty cans, and they wanted to give this back as a thank you gift. So yeah,
so nice.
it happens. Yes.
Yeah, so nice. You know, there are a lot of volunteers around the world working against COVID-19. So do you have any message to them? Do you have any tips for them or any message that you would like to share?
Okay. I think my tips might be on safety first. Just keep yourself healthy and insecure, in safe. Unless you do that, you will not able to help other people. So please keep yourself in secure and in safe. So this is, I think, the should be our motto. So I think this is only my tips. And do not feel very depressed, because this time will be over and we will have old gold days, as we said. Just keep your motivation high.
Yes, thank you. Nur, do you want to add something?
I think Akif told everything, but well, they can say that this is going to end one day, and they have to know, they have to be aware of that they are the part of solution. So I think this can help.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys. And I think it's time to wrap up. Thanks for sharing your stories from the field, your experiences. They're very precious for us. I myself learned a lot and enjoyed very much. And I hope it's been very useful for our followers around the world as well. So stay healthy and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elif. Bye-bye.